You're listening to A Teaching Moment with Mr. B.
Are you ready to unlock your child's potential? Find the perfect blend of learning and fun at MrBTheTeacher.com. Start with his 2 award-winning books, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-age child, and the essential Speller the Feller. Bring joy to reading with humorous and engaging stories like My Coconut Head, all on sale at Amazon.com. But the learning doesn't stop there. Make any subject fun with the catchy curriculum-based tunes from Mr. B's Beats for Brains. Please enjoy this sample.
Africa with desert sands, lions roam the mighty lands. Asia bustling, mountains tall, from vast plains to cities called. 7 wonders, 7 dreams, across the world, through the scenes. 4 great oceans, blue and white. Come along.
Is your child ready to see real academic growth? For personalized expert tutoring, connect with Mr. B through Varsity Tutors. Details are at MrBTheTeacher.com. That's MrBTheTeacher.com, your partner in learning success.
You're listening to A Teaching Moment with Mr. B.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. This is our 45th podcast number 45. In this 45th episode, we're going to talk about what Mr. B, the Teacher, LLC has to offer. This is part 4 of these 5 parts about how to access our services and products that we have to offer. In part 1, we covered tutoring services, which was podcast 42. In podcast 43, we covered podcasts. Podcast 44, the last podcast, was about blogs. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how to acquire our books. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about the books that we have written and that we have offered online on Amazon.com. But before we dive into what books we have to offer that are on sale now for purchase on Amazon.com, I'm going to read you our mission statement, which goes as the following. Through Mr. B, the Teacher, LLC, we create meaningful and personalized learning experiences that inspire growth, confidence, and a love for learning in every child we teach. Through Mr. B, the Teacher, LLC, we help students overcome challenges and discover their strengths, fostering a positive and engaging learning environment where every child can thrive. And through Mr. B, the Teacher, LLC, we provide supportive and tailored learning experiences that build confidence, ignite curiosity, and empower every child to succeed. So thank you for listening to our mission statement. That's who we are and what we stand for, what we believe in. Thank you for listening to that. And now we're going to get into this 45th podcast, which is about how to acquire the books that we have to offer through our website, MrBTheTeacher.com. So first of all, you log into MrBTheTeacher.com. You type it in your search bar and you'll get the home page. And on this home page, you have 7 tabs on the top left-hand corner. The home tab that you're on, About Mr. B, Podcast, Blog, Media, Shop, and Contact Mr. B. I'm going to go through the 2 ways that you could access what books we have to offer through our website. The first way I'm going to share with you is through the Shop tag. The Shop tab on the top, where you have Home, About Mr. B, Podcast, Blog on the top row, and in the second row you have Media, Shop, and Contact Mr. B. Go ahead and click on Shop tab because you can shop for books And in the next podcast, you'll learn about how you can shop for music, for the educational music that we have to offer. But in this episode, we're going to talk about shopping for books. So let's click on shop and see what we find. And when you click on the shop tab, it says My Shop. And then it's underneath, it has a section called Featured Books. And it has a picture of some children reading some books, a nice picture of some children from different walks of life reading books and sharing books. And underneath that picture, it has some information briefly about the 3 books that we have to offer so far through MrBeTheTeacher.com, entitled Empowering Parents, Engaging Children. So allow me to read this excerpt from that page. Here you'll discover valuable tools to navigate the exciting journey of education with your child. For parents and guardians, Mr. B's or Steve Burgess's award-winning book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-age child, provides insightful strategies and practical advice to foster a positive learning environment at home. This book is a must-have for anyone looking to unlock their child's full potential. So that's talking about our award-winning book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-age child, which is featured in paperback and Kindle forms on Amazon. And then, for the young learners themselves, we have 2 delightful stories or books that we've just released this summer that entertain whilst subtly teaching important lessons. The 2 children's books that we've released this summer are My Coconut Head and Speller the Feller, which are both engaging children's books that will spark imagination and encourage a love for reading. Of course, we're going to go into details about these 3 books in a moment. But then below that excerpt, it says, invest in your child's future today with these thoughtfully crafted books from Mr. B, the teacher. So there you have it. So on that tab, it just has a brief overview of the 3 books I have to offer. And then below that information, you have 3 tabs. One of them is for Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-age child. The next one is My Coconut Head, and the next tab is Speller the Feller. Those are the names of the 3 books we have to offer. The last 2 being children's books, and the first one is a guidebook for parents and educators and people everywhere who are parents. Now, you could click on the Read More, or you can click on the Shop tabs under each section. So under the Guidelines for the Successful Student tab, it says Read More. If you click on Read More, it's going to take you to the page where the books section page where you can read more information about each of the books. And on that page, it has information about all 3 books. So under the books, when you click on the Read More section, it's going to take you to read more about the books. And no matter which of those 3 tabs you click on, it's going to take you to the same page. And underneath each other, under each book heading, you can read some information about a synopsis of what the books are about. So for Guidelines for a Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-age child, the award-winning book, which won the International Impact Book Award. I wrote underneath that my number 1 reason for writing that book, which was to teach and guide parents all around the world how to teach and motivate their school-age children to succeed as students at school so that they become productive citizens in society. Underneath that, I give you a synopsis of what the book is about. The Guidelines for the Successful Student book features what your roles as parents of students at home are, your children's roles as students at home, how to prepare your students for learning at home, what accommodations need to be made before, during, and after school, throughout the year, how to issue rewards for your consequences to your children at home, what expectations, routines, and procedures need to be established and enforced at home, how to nurture your children as they learn to become successful students and productive citizens, how to teach and train your students to be successful learners in all subject areas, how to receive support from all stakeholders in your communities, and much, much more. And it says underneath that, grab your copy on Amazon.com today. And then there's a Buy Now tab that you can click on. And if you click on the Buy Now tab, it literally takes you to the Amazon page where we've made it easier for you to purchase one of our books. In this case, the Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-aged child, which is available on Amazon now in paperback and e-Kindle forms. So feel free to explore that. Now we're going to go back and take a look at the other two books we have. As of this summer, we also issued 2 children's books, one after the other. And if you click on Shop again, you will see the featured books, and you can click on My Coconut Head, which is the second book I want to tell you about. So if you click on My Coconut Head, Read More, you could read more about that. Underneath the Guidelines for the Successful Student section, you will see the My Coconut Head section. And in that section it says that I wrote this humorous story that took place 5 days after my mother died. I was on my way home from a job interview walking around my lake when I was involved in a coconut head button incident with 2 ducks. I am gleefully sharing my story with you now. This book is dedicated to my late mother and father and to the duck that hit me. Special thanks go out to my family and friends, to everyone who enjoys reading this book. So it gives you a little bit of information about the book. I will show you where you can get even more information about the book in a few minutes. But that's basically what you'll find. And then if you click under the Spell of the Fella section, you'll be back on the same page. And the third book, the last book on the bottom of this page, on the books page, is Spell of the Fella. And it says in this section, this is a story about 2 childhood friends who lived in the same neighborhood and became best friends after Shawana saved Speller from an alligator near their homes. A friend in need is a friend indeed. We all have unique skills in life which can be helpful to others. Anyone who could save someone else's life like I have, we should always reach out and help someone else who's in need. It also teaches some rhyming word patterns, suffixes, and word repetition. This story is intended for students of all ages and their families. This is a story about friendship, bravery, heroism, and acts of kindness. And then it says, grab your copy of Spell of the Fella on Amazon.com today. And if you click on Buy Now, just with the previous books, it will literally take you to the Amazon page where we've made it easy for you to purchase a copy of that book, as with the other books. So we've made it easy to you all in one place where you can click on the Shop tab and read the information about each of the 3 books, Guidelines for the Successful Student, My Coconut Head, and Spell of the Fella. And under each of those tabs, you have the information about the book, picture of the front cover of each of the books, and the Buy Now tabs underneath that, where it will literally take you to the Amazon page where you can buy each of those books now. So they're available now on Amazon.com, so feel free to check them out. Now, as I was saying a few minutes ago, besides clicking on the Shop tab through the home page, you could also scroll down on the home page and click on and look under the products and services section on the home page. So beneath the picture of a student where it says unleash your child's potential, underneath that picture and underneath the writing beside it, there's a section that says products and services in the middle of the home page. And then you see the 4 tabs there. You see books, music, podcasts, and varsitytutors.com. We've already talked about varsitytutors.com when we talked about tutoring services. We already looked at the podcast tab when we talked about podcasting in episode 43. Next time, we're going to talk about the music section when we click on the music tab. But since this podcast 45 is about books, you can click on Shop Books, which is the first tab on this products and services section. It says order a copy of the award-winning book Guidelines for the Successful Student or his selection of children's books, which I told you there were 2 children's books that we offered as of June 2025. So you can go ahead and click on Shop Books. And when you click on that, it takes you right back to that same books page, which shows you the titles of the 3 books, the information about each of the books in the Buy Now tab. It takes you literally back to that same page where you could buy. So we made it easy for you to navigate through our website. So either you click on the Shop tab at the top of the page, or you click on the Books tab below that section which talks about products and services. So either way, you're going to be taken to that same page where you could read the information about each of our books, and you could decide to purchase them by clicking on the Buy Now tabs. And each one you'll take you to that specific page where you could make your purchases. So that's what those books are about. Now, if you were to click on About Mr. B page, you will see information about who I am and how I am qualified, what were my credentials, educational credentials, and certifications that I hold. So that's something we'll get into another day. We talked about the podcast tab and the blog tab, and the media tab would be another section where you can see my latest interview with Trish from Teacher Therapy. And if you click on the Shop tab, you will see information about the books where we began earlier when I told you can click on that Shop tab. And it gives you general information about the books and then each of those tabs. So, and anytime you click on Read More, it's going to take you right back to that Books tab page where it gives you the information about the books with the Buy Now tabs below that. So that's basically the information I have to share with you today about purchasing our books, our 3 books that we have to offer. And happy reading. Hope you enjoy reading these books. Hope you enjoy these books. Feel free to check us out on Amazon, MrBeTheTeacher.com, and to check out our books through the Shop tab so you may check out what each of those books are about. As I say, we have 1 parental guidebook for parents, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-age child, and we've just offered 2 children's books for the first time. One is called My Coconut Head, and one is called Speller the Feller, which are both adventurous and funny books, but teaches a lesson while teaching reading, language arts, writing, and spelling. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast 45, in which we explored what books we have to offer through Mr. Be the Teacher LLC on MrBeTheTeacher.com. Thank you so much for listening, and please feel free to join us on the next podcast. where we'll talk about music, Mr. B's Beats for Brains music. Thank you so much for listening, and as the African proverb says, it takes a village to raise a child. Thank you, and bye-bye, everybody.